All right, guys, we are live here, and welcome to our Power Talk interview this week with my partner Sarah and I, founders of Sharp Retention. Again, our goal with these videos is to add value to you all, our community of clients and friends. So thank you for being on with us. And our guest today is a man who really needs no introduction, the incomparable Todd Duncan. If you don't know Todd yet, you will. Todd has been running High Trust and Sales Mastery for going on 26 years now. It's the preeminent sales conference for LOs looking to increase their business and their lifestyle. A lot of you we met there probably. I've known many great leaders in my life, but I've really never known a leader like Todd, who always gives the most profound piece of advice at the exact right moment. I really don't know how you do that. You're some sort of a wizard. Todd's a consultant for some of the biggest mortgage companies in the country right now. He's recently gone international. Todd's an author, speaker, professional badass, and a great friend for going on. Woo! It's an honor and pleasure to have you on with us today. How you doing, buddy?
Professional badass. That is the first. I love it. But you know what's so cool about that is I have a book on my desk that says, "You are a badass."
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
I'm doing really great. Good to be with you guys, and I love you both very much. Love Sharp Retention, and good to hang out with your tribe.
Thank you. And we'll just kind of hop right in here, Todd. The topic of our call today, because it's coming up here, right? We got it in October, is sales mastery. And we were just talking before the call. One of my favorite things about you, Todd, is that you're always excited about your business, about things going on. You get a lot of people that are kind of ho-hum, this and that, and you've been running High Trust and Sales Mastery for a long time, and I think it's incredible that you're still just as excited now as you were almost 10 years when we started working with you. So going on a personal level, what does this event mean to you personally, and why after all these years are you still excited about Sales Mastery?
Well, it's a great question. I think, at the end of the day, the vision when Sales Mastery was launched, Adam, was to really provide a place, a gathering place where loan originators and leaders could come and learn, grow, and get better. Hear people on stage who have figured out, their piece of the world, and as a result, they're doing this or doing that, and really showcasing, the best practices of living life large and doing business well. And every single year we have done it, it's just added to this ecosystem of people who are changing, their world. And why would we ever want to stop doing something that has so much impact, in the business? And so if we've got 100,000 people that have attended Sales Mastery, which is the number, and each one of them affects 10 real estate agents, and each real estate agent impacts with that lender maybe 100 families a year. Sales Mastery's reach is actually impacting millions of consumers a month. So why would we want to stop anything that has that much goodness to it? And, I am a firm believer that if you're still walking, there's still stuff to do. And if you're alive and thriving and you can watch lives change, why would you want to stop that? So we're just sharpening the tip of the spear right now. And I think the best days for High Trust and the best days for Sales Mastery are still ahead of us. So It's kind of cool.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. And I'd like to kind of dig in. I'm really interested in the theme this year is Fit, Fast, Forward. And if you wanted to tell us a little bit about why did you choose to pick that theme for this year's Sales Mastery coming up?
So every year, what we try to do is we try to take a look at, the year in review and the year ahead. We try to look at kind of where do we see things going and from where have we come, right? So last year was Game Changers. The year before that was Breakthrough. And the whole idea behind kind of theming this event is what's the market screaming for right now? And what we find in High Trust is the greatest moment of any originator, any leader's life is when they start to realize that their business needs to become healthier, right? And we look at the health IQ of most origination businesses, and people are overworked and they are underleveraged, they are tired, and they're sick, and they're not living the right life that they could live. I talked to one of our panelists this morning who was guilty just a year ago of working 6 days a week and working till 9 o'clock at night. He did not have a fit business. And as a result of not having a fit business, he did not have a fit marriage because his wife was tired of hearing, "I'll be home earlier, honey." And so he made this decision as a result of mastery where he was going to only allocate 2 nights a week where he would work late for clients who couldn't meet with him during the day. And the rest of the time, it was a hard stop at 5 o'clock. He told me just an hour ago that that decision saved his marriage. So this idea of fit is how do we do this business so well that our life is also done well? And when you think about fast, everybody would like to get their results more quickly. And so the question is, how can you become either more confident, more competent, or more consistent at a deliverable that would allow you to do more business sooner than more business later, or even later and not more business? And so what ends up happening, you guys, is when people try to execute something fast and they're not fit, they ultimately have to stop and they have to retool and they have to get a do-over and they've got to back up, and we take 3 steps forward and 4 steps back. That's not fast. You know, fast is being in the right mindset, the right belief set, the right business set, all that fit stuff. And then it is executing with focused discipline. We had a guy just 2 days ago that told us that he had waited 2 years for a real estate agent to agree to meet with him. And when he watched one of the sales mastery videos from last year, he decided to do something pretty unique and creative. And within 3 days, the real estate agent called him back. That's fast. And so why take 2 years to get a result when you can get it in 2 days? And that's the fast piece, right? And then if you're fit and you're fast, then how do we execute well so that we maintain health, emotional health, economic health, you know, educational health, all that kind of stuff? If you're doing that, there's no place to go but forward. And sadly, what people try to do is they try to go forward on top of not going fast and not being fit. And when you go forward, but you're not fit or you're fast, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to fail. And so a lot of people don't like to go forward because they have a very warped view of failure. And instead of seeing failure as a real gift and seeing failure as a positive, you know, catalyst, a piece of jet fuel for the future, they fear it. They fear it. They fear even going forward. And so we're going to be doing a lot of work about what does the future of this business look like? What does the originator of 2022 look like? What does the real estate lender partnership look like in 2022? We're going to be forward thinking that far ahead. And when you put all that together, every single person on stage has been commissioned to share a fit or a fast or a forward strategy that is earning them an extra $100,000 a year compared to not having. Yay, another sale. I love it. I'm having that strategy in place. So that's kind of the theme, and I'm super, super fired up about it.
Yeah, I like that because it's really not about doing more transactions and making more money if it's going to make you live a worse life, right? The business is a vehicle to live an amazing life. So if you're living a worse life so that you can do better in your business, you're kind of missing the point, right?
Entirely.
in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, no, entirely. And you know, what's really interesting is I was in Atlanta 2 months ago, and it's so powerful to understand that it doesn't matter what age anybody finds themselves that might be watching, you know, this dialogue, conversation among friends. It doesn't matter if you're 20 something, you know, 50 something. We had a gal in Atlanta who 72 years old, and she is getting trained to be her best, and she loves the business, and she could not believe at the age of 72 all the things that she had not yet done in her business. And she was joyful and she was happy. But when you start to meet people, no matter what age they're at, with what is like common sense, like, would you rather make more money and work fewer hours? That's a pretty common sense question. And most people would probably say, yeah, I love that idea, but they don't know how. And it's fast forward. We can do that. We've got a gal on stage, you guys, that in January averaged $38 an hour. Her production was the equivalent with her work week of making $38 an hour. In the month of May, her work and income relationship was $444 an hour. And it looks like in the month of August, her work income relationship is going to be close to $600 an hour. She has become very fit in her business. She's become very fast at implementing 3 key things. And as a result of that, she's gone from $40 an hour to $600 an hour in 7 months. That's fit, fast forward thinking. And that's what we want to do this year at Mastery.
I love that. And I love the metric too, right? You're not just giving recognition right there for somebody that did a lot of loans or did a lot of transactions or made a lot of money. You break it down and like her hour of output is X and what's the income on that, right? Those are the key important things to look at, not just how much volume are you doing, right? What kind of life are you living? That's really what being in the mortgage business is all about, right? We're not really out there saving the whales, right? I mean, everybody's in this business to live an amazing life. And in measuring the key metrics that indicate that is really where it's at versus how many loans did you do last year, but maybe you killed yourself in the process. And my next question, Todd, and I'll let Sarah kind of chime in here too, Sarah. We love you. We know all of us right now, a lot of changes in the mortgage industry, right? Robots and automation are coming for all of us, right? That's people have some fear out there. And my main question for you is, how do we equip originators and leaders to stay ahead of the changes that we're seeing in the mortgage industry and even leverage those changes to put themselves in a position to be on the attack instead of a position on the defense where they're just afraid of what's coming and what's happening?
Yeah. So, I think that there's a lot of borrowed fear. There's a lot of people that have just created up in their mind a reality that is negative, and technology has become a way bigger fear element than it actually is ever going to be. And I believe that, deep in my soul, and I believe it for a couple of reasons. There's no way ever that technology is going to be able to create a heartful connection between two human beings. At its very best, with the most sensational AI ever developed, it still won't have emotion. It still won't have heart. It could answer questions. It could quote rates. It could do all that kind of stuff. But technology is not going to replace the human soul, the humanity of the transaction. Let's think about this, and let me see if I can justify why. We're going through what I call right now the industrialization of the mortgage process. Okay. And it's no different than, if you weren't paying attention 150 years ago and you were betting your entire future on the candle industry, and all of a sudden, in the next century, this guy Edison comes along and he invents the light bulb. It could put the candle business out of business, or it could be a different way of lighting the world, which is what it's become. You look at the world, I might have 40 candles in my house. The candle business is not obsolete. It's just a new technology that provides a different kind and source of light. I think it's fascinating when we think back to Henry Ford, and you think about the industrialization of the auto business, right? And most people don't know this, but Henry Ford did not start off thinking about how to create a car. What he started off with was, how do we take the current buggy that is being pulled by a horse, and how do we take that buggy and put an engine in it? Right. It wasn't even like the reinvention of what typically was the mode of transportation being pulled by horses. It was, we're going to have a buggy, and then we're going to figure out how to put an engine and steering wheels in it. And then it went from there, right? And so if you're thinking right now that we're about ready to be put out of business in the mortgage space because of technology, you've got the wrong mindset. Right. Change, you got to be the change you see happening. You got to be the change you want to have happen. I'll give you another example that's personal. About 20 years ago, if you had prostate cancer, the way you got operated on is they put a scalpel above your belly button, and they cut a 7-inch slice into your stomach down to your pubic bone, and they went in through your belly to take out the cancerous prostate. Okay. So prostate cancer hasn't changed. Prostate cancer is as relevant today as it was 100 years ago. People get it, right? But what has happened is that there's now a technology assist. So now we don't have to go in that way. We can actually use a robot but the robot must be guided by the trained physician to be able to perform a successful surgery. The doctor is never going to be put out of business, just like the smart mortgage originator is never going to be put out of business. There's going to be different ways that we might use technology as an assist to provide a deeper, more wondrous client conversation, but there's not a borrower on the planet, unless they're just a very seasoned, calloused investor, that would ever let automation quote them a rate and decide the program for them and get them approved. It's not going to happen. So the good news, the really good news is you take a look at, your phone, and you take a look at that you could complete an app on your phone for a mortgage loan in, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. If I'm a mortgage professional, do you realize how much more profitable that makes the transaction? Do you realize how much less drag I'll have because I don't have to go chasing documentation? But I could have the app, and I could not have the app, and I could have the same conversation that is me to you, learning what's important to you, having dialogue about why that's important to you, and helping architect a mortgage solution for you that is yours, that is custom, that is not one size or one shoe fits all. So I'm not worried about technology. I'll tell you what I'm worried about. I'm worried about LOs that aren't paying attention to what they have to do in a fast market. And I just did a 30-minute briefing. It's coming out live tomorrow. It's called The Death Spiral of the Loan Officer. And it's negatively titled, but it's optimistically taught, because I want people to realize, if you don't change right now, and you don't change in a healthy, fast, and forward kind of way, I do believe you may not have a job in 24 months or less. I'm going to share something with you real quick if I can, because I just got this text yesterday. Is that okay if I do that?
Please. Absolutely, please.
Yeah, so listen to this. So this guy is one of our elite coaching guys, and he said, I really believe right now that there are thousands of originators that are paddling as fast as they can right over a deadly waterfall. If rates had not dropped, they might have noticed it and made course corrections. But now that rates are low, I think they're headed for the falls. Anybody who's not paying attention to the market and what it's going to be like in 3 to 9 months may not ever be able to recover from the current rate market.
Wow.
Way to go, guys. And I look at that and I go, that is so true. That is just so true, that the market is changing, and you have to do 4 things. You have to make sure you commit to adapting fast and changing your business practices. You can't run away from technology. You must embrace it. You have to develop true authenticity and humanity in the connection. Otherwise, technology will replace you. If you don't have this human authenticity and connection in every interaction, you're not going to be needed, right? So that's number 3. Number 4 is to master modern day value and relevancy. So modern day value and relevancy is going to take the mortgage professional beyond just the loan. The modern day value and relevancy is, you really do have to understand the power of becoming consumer centric, not consumer direct, but consumer centric. And you must understand that the place that you have to add the most value is you have to add it to the consumer who's trusting you to borrow the biggest amount of money they've ever borrowed. If you can modernize the value proposition to that group, you're going to have leverage over the real estate agent group and the builder group and all of that. And let's not mistake the truth. Somewhere between, I've heard numbers as high as 400,000, as low as 250,000 realtors are not going to have a job in 18 months. The reason they're not going to have a job is not because they're great human beings. They're not going to have a job because they're not relevant. And they become irrelevant, and they don't have the branding and the visibility, and the consumer is going to leapfrog right over them to the market that uses technology to be branded and to be visible and to leverage the 5-star experience. And then the last thing, the 4th thing you have to do is you have to focus on truth. You cannot survive the technological wave that we're involved in if you do not focus on truth. And truth is, in the purest sense possible, truth is what's going to set you free. When you look in the mirror, what is the truth you see about you? When you're sitting down, a guy yesterday who's going to be on stage, been taking loans from a real estate agent for 12 years.
Wow.
Never, ever, ever knew what was important to her. At the end of the conversation, because he came through the academy and said, I got to try this. There's no risk. I've been with her 12 years. She's given me tons of volume. He tells me that he asks her, he says, I've never, ever asked this of you. We've been doing business for 12 years. Tell me what's important about what you do and why you do it. And she said, right now, it's about making a lot of money. And not a new answer, but what this guy did is he went a little bit deeper and he said, so help me understand how much more money is. What does that look like to you? And she said, I want to make $800,000 a year for the next 3 years. And so the guy said, so why 800,000? What's special about that number? And she said, I want to be able to have enough money where at the end of 36 months, I have built my husband his dream cabin on the lake. And in the event that I die before him, I want him to never worry that he has his dream cabin on the lake. And I want to build it and pay for it in full.
Whoa.
A big why.
So are you kidding me? And so he said that for the last couple weeks or so, every time he talks to her, it's the $800,000 conversation.
Wow.
It brings
That's
so much
truth.
more to it.
That is truth.
So much truth and trust too, like knowing something that intimate about somebody that you're in business with and going there creates trust in and of itself, right? It kind of brings down some of the walls, and now you guys are talking.
What you just hit on? What you just hit on is the insurance policy of relevance. The people that don't understand, Adam, what you just said are not going to be relevant. The people that don't understand, Sarah, what you said about why, if they don't understand connection, if they don't understand that the world revolves on human connection, and what we have to do in a high-priced society, mortgage loans are high-priced, homes are a lot of money. It's the biggest decision people are going to make. We have to actually triple down on humanity. We got to triple down on trust. We got to triple down on truth, because otherwise Madison Avenue and advertising is going to take over, and you don't connect, you don't convert.
Right. No, I love the example of prostate, and I love the example. I'll give my own personal example. We know rates are low. I was refinancing some of my properties and, getting quotes and whatnot. And I may or may not have called a company called Quicken Loans, and they may or may not have treated me like a number. Literally, question number 2, and I don't mean to put Quicken on blast here. Question number 2 was, hey, do I have your permission on a recorded line to run your credit right now? Not tell me about your lifestyle, tell me about your goals, tell me about what we can do. And when that happened to me, and I wanted to see it from a consumer end and be on the other end of it to experience it, there's no way I'm working with that person. I got treated like a number. I was asked no questions. I wasn't given a consultation. They didn't position themselves as an expert advisor who cared, right? So really how you set yourself apart, in my opinion, is people who are great and excellent at what they do are the only people who get paid. And the people that are going to be around, like you're saying, Todd, are people that are expert advisors that actually connect and take care of their clients and educate them. And you can't not be great at what you do. You have to be the best. That's the only thing that will continue to get paid. And I agree with you. And having worked with, some companies like that, and I know where my call got transferred to, and maybe eventually be a robot, people don't want that experience. And we long now more for human connection than we have ever in the past, right? Somebody who's going to actually sit down with us, teach us what this means, what it means for maybe our overall wealth plan management and goals. Those kind of people will always be relevant, and they can leverage technology to do more loans and help more people, right? So so I've had that consumer side of it, and I just thought I wanted to share that because it's happening right now, and people want the human interaction. So I totally agree. And when you're letting that fear get in the way, what I found too is that you're typically not on the offense, right? If you're attacking and you're going for it, et cetera, you don't really have time to sit around in fear and self-doubt you kind of starve the fear and self-doubt by saying, okay, how do we team up with technology? How do we get more fit and fast in our business? You're not sitting around afraid, quivering about the robots taking our jobs in 30 years, right? Because you're too busy being on offense to sit back and be on defense and be afraid.
Well, fear is a very, most people don't see this, just like they don't see that failure should be their friend. Fear is also a very positive motivator. Fear in the sense of not being afraid, but fear in the sense of the body, and especially the brain, is wired in states of fear to have the amygdala take over and get you through the things that you are afraid of. And so there's a way to channel fear in a very positive way, using the natural design of our brain to actually achieve the things. Because if you don't achieve them, just like if you don't jump out of the way of a car, okay, there are more people killed in a crosswalk than jaywalking. And the reason why is because when you're jaywalking, the amygdala takes over and you don't have this sense of safety. And so you are a better navigator of running across the street. Whereas when you're in the crosswalk, you drop your fear because the crosswalk is the crosswalk, right? And there are more people killed in the crosswalk than are actually killed jaywalking in America every single day.
Wow.
Fear is
true. I mean, and that's how I live my life. My husband doesn't like it, but you just got to jaywalk. No, Adam, you know it.
It keeps you moving for sure. In the military, they call it the 80% rule, right? So if you are in gunfire, right, and you are hiding from the enemy, the goal is that if you stay put, there's an 80% chance that you're going to get killed anyways, right? So the whole point is don't move with no strategy, but you need to move, because if you sit there in fear, you will get killed, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me put an exclamation point on this. If you have confidence and you are fit, fast, and forward in your mindset, which is what we're going to be doing at Mastery, the acronym of fear actually is transported to this entirely new reality. So fear would stand for, then, if you're fit, fast, and forward, it would stand for feeling excited and ready. That's the play on fear, that when you know what you're doing and you have a game plan for what you're doing, there is no negative fear which holds you back. There's just positive fear which brings you forward. It's that important.
Well, and all of this really, I have goosebumps right now, because as Adam had mentioned, we have been participating, with your event, with High Trust, with you, Todd, and your amazing team. And we've met so many top producers there, and we've heard so many nuggets being shared, and you're coaching people, but all of it, I mean, what you're talking about right now, I can barely put it in words, but basically you're always able to offer that positive spin on whatever's going on. And it's not a spin, that's the wrong, but to really take, like you say, even fear, because there are a lot of fearful, loan officers out there right now about everything that is going on, as in always in different industries, but to take it and to turn it to the positive and to look at it and say, how can we, improve basically with this opportunity, instead of, back into a corner and just hold on and go over the waterfall as you were talking about. But it's a taste of what the event is. And we're always so excited. And that's really incrable.
Yeah, and we only have a couple more questions for you here, Todd. We know you're going to have to go soon. One of them being, what are, if you had to narrow it down to like the top 2 or 3 things that you're seeing top originators and your team coach executing on to become, I'm sorry, what am I saying here? Your top originators and team coaches to become fit, fast, and forward. What are like 3 things that those top originators and coaches are doing to get their business fit, fast, and forward right now?
So one is dollarize. And what we're doing is we're looking at every coaching member and every originator that is in our even our Coaching Light, our High Trust Today private Facebook group. What we're looking at is you can actually change your financial future every single day. And so we're encouraging people to do that gut check every day and look at the day in review and determine how profitable you were that day based on the activities that you were engaged in. And so our goal, in fact, if you're in high trust coaching, you get your hourly rate measured every 2 weeks, because we want to be able to continue to have you work less hours, make more money per hour, not because it's about the money, but it's about lifeblood. It's about life. If you're going to give this thing called time, which is an absolute gift to you, to a business, you would want the business to be profitable. If you had to report to a board and they had a video of you all day long doing, 8 things that didn't produce any money and 1 thing that produced some money, but it was only for like 10 minutes of the day, that you'd be fired. The board would fire you.
Amen.
What you do is you fire yourself. So it's dollarize, 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 dollarize. The second thing that we're having people do is we're having them understand the new world of delegation. And the new world of delegation is not the old world. The old world is, let's hire an LOA because it makes sense to delegate. The new world is, let's partner with delegation conduits. Let's bring people on board, not to offload, but to hit and penetrate markets that we're not hitting. And the primary market that we're having people hit is called consumer centric. It's not consumer direct. It's not consumer marketing. It's not, any of that high lead gen with low conversion. It's like, if I've got 1,000 people that I've done loans for, have I identified the 200 people in that 1,000, and have I connected the dots into their sphere of influence so that I can generate this reverse revenue leverage back to my wealth builders and partners? And I'll read you just one other thing real quickly here on that note, because I think it's so powerful. I asked a guy that's in our coaching. I said, let's see here. So I said to him, and this is July 9th. So this is just 6 weeks ago or so. I said, so what would you say the total dollars you have been able to refer back to agents and wealth builder partners this year has been? His exact text was $244,863 as of June 30th, 19, which is more than the $237,813 that we referred out to our agents and wealth builders last year. We are on track this year to refer $500,000 in commissionable value back to our agents and wealth builders.
Wow.
So you stop and think about this. This guy is now doing loans for 15 enterprise locations in Texas, and he has sat down and now is doing loans for the top 10 wealth management partners for Northwestern Mutual in Texas. And we know that we know this is where you have to go, because the traditional marketplace is going to be thinned out. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you got to go to consumers. I had a guy on our webinar yesterday for the 90-day High Trust Sales Academy review. He cracked the code and last week met with the decision maker at the California Medical Association offices, 44,000 physicians.
Wow.
And he is going to be the lender for the California Medical Association. So so that's number 2. And then number 3 is, well, actually those two together. So delegation for the purpose of getting into new markets, and then making sure that somewhere between 6 and 7 out of every loans you do a month is coming from the non-traditional marketplace. So not that we're going away from realtors, not that we're going away from, but from that marketplace, so that you then have real leverage. If you have the real leverage, then you have market value. And if you have real leverage, you don't have fear.
Yep.
If you have real leverage, people want you. I mean, when it gets out that, this guy referred $250,000 in commissions through June to the agent universe, imagine what starts happening. They call him instead of him having to call them. It's crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's why being the best is the only thing that pays, right? And it keeps
100%.
going. That's why the rich get richer, because they decide to be the best. They decide to be excellent. And that snowballs, and it wipes out people that are running a mediocre business. You can't do that anymore, or you will starve, or you're just going to be constantly scraping just to get by. And if that's the case, maybe the business really is not for you. You have to be committed to being the best in this business. Otherwise, take on something that's a lot easier than this. That would be my honest advice for somebody. So to kind of wrap it up here, Todd, last question that I have for you is obviously we got Sales Mastery coming up. We know you love Sharp Retention. Tell us about the Sharp Retention offer that you put together for this year's event.
Yeah, so, we love our partners. We love you guys. You are the, gosh, how can I say it? You're so fun when you're at the event. You're so engaging with people while they're there. And I've got literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients that are using Sharp Retention and using your tools. I have them in my kitchen. Every knife I use is a knife that I got from you guys, or scissors I got from you guys. So we love you guys and we love your tribe. And so we've offered, it's a $200 savings off the retail price. So Sharp Retention's offer is $800 for the premier ticket. And the premier ticket provides access to the event, to all 4 days of the content. It gives you access to all the other vendors that are going to be there as well. It gives you an opportunity to be involved in the raffles and the giveaways and the freebies that we pass out. But the most important thing is it gets you there to be able to hear from this year 21 panelists that each one has been commissioned to share one idea that they can tell and prove to you has earned them an extra $100,000 in income. So essentially this year, an $810 ticket is going to get you about $2 million worth of ideas a year.
Wow.
So that's kind of what we're doing. And you're going to get to come to the happy hour reception because of Sharp Retention. You're going to be able to have the daily light breakfast because of Sharp Retention. And we're going to have workouts every morning, which is part of your package.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think we're going to give away $1,000 in gifts every single day. And so, right place, right time. And I'm going to get my T-shirt cannon out again and go boom, boom.
Nice. And Todd, you underplay yourself, man. There's a lot of speakers, panelists, people that you guys have on stage, some of the best in the mortgage industry. But Todd, you won't say it for yourself, man. Nobody is better than you. I sit in the back. I watch everything you say. I learn something that changes my life and my business every single year for 10 years now. And you're shortchanging yourself, guys. But Todd Duncan alone, guys, is worth the value of being there and getting this ticket. And we just appreciate you, Todd. You're just the best, man. And I know Sarah and I, we just can't thank you enough for being really just a tremendous leader and a source of certainty in a very challenging and uncertain times. Not just for us, but for all of us that look up to you, man. So we really just want to say thank you, man, from the bottom of our heart for doing what you do for everyone.
Yeah. We love you guys, and you guys play a very, very instrumental role in client loyalty. And everybody that's in your tribe and everybody that may have a chance to watch this, if you're not using Sharp Retention to create just continuity with your closed loan customer base, you're a fool. And you guys have the best loyalty tool, I believe, of anything. I mean, there's newsletters that go out, there's emails that go out, there's all this crap that goes out. None of it matters. You give somebody something that they can use for their life. Every time they use it, they think of you. And that's why you have such a powerful brand. And that's why we love you.
Thanks, Todd. We appreciate it, buddy. Well, with that, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, Todd, for being on. Thanks, everybody. And we'll talk to you on the next one. Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
And you can get that special deal that Todd mentioned right in the comments. The website, salesmasteryevent.com/sharp retention will get you that $200 off, the happy hour, the breakfast, the workouts, everything. So we'll see you there.
All right. See you there.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Okay.